All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. This Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit in and for Miami-Dade County is now in session. The Honorable Judge Nusha Safety presiding. All persons having business before this court, come nigh and you shall be heard. God save the United States of America and this honorable court.
Thank you, Laird. Good afternoon, family, friends, guests here and out there on our YouTube channel. Welcome to the investiture of the Honorable Rosy Aponte as Circuit Court Judge of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida. Please remain standing as we ask a very special guest to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The judge's judicial assistant, who's Lisa Bermudez, this is welcome her granddaughter, Leah Victoria Alarcon, who's age 8, and she'll be leading us.
Thank you. If I could, can everybody put their hands on their heart? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Leah, that was perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, as we continue to remain standing, please welcome someone who needs no introduction, Pastor Carl Johnson from the 93rd Street Community Baptist Church for the Invocation. Thank you, Pastor Johnson.
To you, honored Judge Safey, and to the remaining of you judges, I honor you too. To the guests and friends of our honored who will be presented before us today, Sister Rosy Aponte, how honored I am once again to come before you to invoke God's blessing upon this significant occasion. With that in mind, will you please bow your heads as I invoke God's blessing this very moment. Our God, our Lord, I come to you to invoke your divine presence upon this special occasion. Be our honored guest as we appreciate the significance of this great gathering. We thank you for every person who you have allowed to be here to share in this investiture for one of your honored servants. We pray your blessing upon every elected official as well as every elected judge. Give them the favor they need as they continue to preside over the affairs, interests, and well-being of the people. Gracious God, thank you again for raising up another judge in the personality of Rosy Aponte as she assumes the office of judge and pronounces judgment. Let it be done with wisdom, discretion, righteousness, integrity, and even mercy. Make her an agent for what's right, a hero for what's good. Build her up throughout the years with supreme confidence as she becomes the ideal representation of a marvelous judge. Give her a marketplace anointing in this sanctified judicial system that when men and women, boys and girls grace her presence, they will have to say that justice was served. Help her to execute, administer, govern, decree, decide, discern, detect, and determine what is right according to the law of the land. Gracious God, as she sits on her seat to administer justice and settle disputes, let her moral authority be an inspiration to others. Help her to keenly probe the conscience of those that come before her in order to sift out the wrong as well as settle the right. Gracious God, in conclusion, make her worthy to grace her delegated authority to be able to judge small matters, large matters, as well as all matters, because she too have a judge who she must answer to. We truly thank you for this ordained, arranged, acclaimed occasion. This we pray blessings, and we thank you in your great name. Amen.
Amen. Everyone please be seated. On this day, we have some special guests who have joined us. I'm going to ask that they please stand as I call their names. Some of them actually are with us virtually so that they can be recognized. From the Cuban American Bar Association, former president, Rolly Sanchez Medina. I believe he's with us virtually. From the Miami-Dade Trial Lawyers Association, Miami chapter, Christopher Jury, president. From the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, Miami-Dade chapter, Kevin Hellman. From the Gwyneth Cherry Black Women Lawyers Association, Nakia Ruffin, president. She's also here with us via live stream. From SALAD, the Spanish American League Against Discrimination, we have Juan de Arce, executive director. He's here via live stream. From the Miami-Dade County League of Cities, Richard Cooper, executive director, via live stream. From the Coral Gables Police Department, Sergeant Jesus Garcia. And if there's anyone that I neglected to mention, please let Ara or Eunice know, and they will make sure that I get the text message, and I will announce you as soon as I can. Also here today, we have members of our Greater Court family. On behalf of our Public Defender, Carlos Martinez, we have Teresa Enriquez, Chief Assistant Public Defender. On behalf of our State Attorney, Catherine Fernandez-Rundle, we have Scott Dunn, Deputy Chief Assistant State Attorney. On behalf of Regional Counsel, Jean Zanobi, we have Jacqueline Brandt. And on behalf of Harvey Reuven, our Clerk of Courts, we have Louis Montaldo, General Counsel. And finally, supporting our day-to-day court operations with their expertise and wisdom, the judiciary is nothing without them. We have Sandy Garcia, our Deputy Trial Court Administrator, Patricia Gladson, our General Counsel, our incredible audiovisual team who makes this day possible and makes it possible for us to share it with all of our honored guests via live stream. And of course, our Public Information Officer, Eunice Sigler, who's outside taking care of business, and my incredible staff, my Chief Bailiff, Larry Chester, and my Judicial Assistant, Ara Johnson. Thank you all so much for being here today. And again, if I've neglected to mention anyone, please let Eunice or Ara know, and I'll make sure that I mention you. Now for remarks on behalf of the Florida Bar, we have Board of Governors member. Please welcome Jordan Dresnick.
Thank you, Your Honor, for those kind words, and thank you all for being here today. It's wonderful to be among so many distinguished jurists, good friends, dedicated colleagues, and proud family members as we gather on this special day to celebrate the investiture of Judge Rosy Aponte to the circuit bench. We stand at the opening of the 244th year since our national consciousness first grew from its modern-day semblance of unmistakable action. The old sentiment of a detached, independent people was shed with the birth of this modern institution we know today as the courts. The same storied bench to which we so proudly witnessed Judge Aponte ascend here. For it's in the age of this American experiment that we disregarded the narrow confines of unequal justice and instead took to a national constitution. And today, this court gains its newest member in that process, one who brings years of experience managing her own thriving solo practice as well as working at 3 other firms alongside several of South Florida's most famed practitioners, laying the bedrock for a successful election to the bench. With her humble beginnings as the child and grandchild of farmers in Puerto Rico, Rosy moved to Miami at the age of 2 with her mother. An education at the best of South Florida's public schools and later at Barry University and Whittier Law School set amongst the windswept rolling foothills overlooking the Pacific Ocean, all instilled in Judge Aponte a thorough background in history, philosophy, and law, fit to join the ranks of this esteemed court. Later, Rosy would use these same lessons as a teacher both in the Miami-Dade and Los Angeles County public school systems. For here stands our country, an example of tranquility and democracy at work in this very room. Here stands its government, here aware of its feeble obedience to its conscience. But we stand in awe of the words that are carefully etched in every courtroom of this county, including that behind me, that we who labor here today seek only the truth. And we can all take solace that knowing that our future is bright in our democracy due to the intellect and dedication and professionalism of these fine judges here, as well as Judge Aponte, who will ascertain every day to make sure that truth comes to reality. Her career stems out of a commitment to justice and trial by one's peers, 2 canons that were instilled in her experiences working with the likes of Charles Pappy, John H. Ruiz, and Robert Rodriguez, from whom we'll hear shortly. As we mark the beginning of Judge Aponte's tenure on this court, we applaud her service as a proprietor of the legal success. We speak of her honor and integrity. As a former classmate of Judge Aponte shared a favorite story from her time with Rosy at Miami Senior High. Growing up mostly in Little Havana, Judge Aponte always dreamed of working with the stingerees. So I inquired of this classmate, what's a stingerine? Is that some kind of code? We have an interactive audience. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I inquired, is this some kind of musical instrument? Is it an antique? Is it a car? No, the stingerees are the term given so lovingly to the Stingrays, the mascot of Miami High. Thank you. And Judge Aponte proudly served on its nationally recognized varsity cheer team, the same team that has cheered for some of the finest talent to go to become the best of the National Football League. But friends, we can only reaffirm our greatness as a country and democracy when brave jurists like Judge Aponte stand to offer every voice, no matter how muted or weak its access in this court. In the words of a colleague who worked with the young Rosy, She said that Rosy treated every client as if it were her own mother, and she never stopped when the going became hard. The route of lawyering has never been for the faint of heart. It was in the words of an attorney who served in Judge Aponte's juvenile division within her first year on the bench, who said, "I have yet to see a new judge learn the intricacies of juvenile practice and law and work so hardly to best provide for the families as Judge Aponte has done." In the words of a judge who's joining us by live stream, who mentored a young Rosy, said, "Rosy was my favorite mentee. She inspired in me my own American dream, always working until Rosy's dreams came true." But it's this pledge for those who otherwise have fallen on hard times that would not make this court possible. And with a good conscience as her only sure reward, with history as its final judge of deeds, let this honorable court and Judge Aponte go forward and lead the country that she so proudly loves so dearly. As a governor of the Florida Bar, and on behalf of our 111,000 members now, good luck and Godspeed, as we know that in every case, in every instance, in every endeavor, you'll do what's necessary and right to build a stronger, safer, and more just society. And this court is blessed to have a stunning legal mind like Judge Aponte join its ranks. Thank you for your service, Judge Aponte.
And one VIP I neglected to announce, we have here Paul Scanziani, past president of the Coral Gables Bar Association. For remarks on behalf of the Miami-Dade Bar Association, please welcome its president, Sabrina Puglisi.
Good afternoon, Chief Judge Safey, Judge Aponte, former Chief Judge Soto, judges, family, and friends. Rosy Aponte has learned the lesson that hard work really does pay off. She was born in Puerto Rico. Her mother was the eldest of 8 children. Grandfather was a farmer. And she and her mother, she was a sole child, they came here to Miami when she was very young, 2 or 3 years old. And as soon as she could start working, she started that. That's where that hard work ethic started. As early as junior high, she got a job. All through high school, she worked. All through college, full time, she was working as she went to Miami-Dade College and then to Barry University. In law school, she was a full-time kindergarten teacher at the same time. And once she became a lawyer, she continued that hard work ethic. She did that by wanting to help people, and so she did employment law. She did discrimination and civil rights cases. She moved on to foreclosure defense and then to personal injury as well. And she was very happy doing that. And, her childhood best friend, Vanessa Fraugio, whom she met when she was 15 and considers her sister, said, "Rosy's one of the most dedicated, caring, compassionate, and fair, just people I've ever known. She's also hands down one of the funniest characters you could ever meet, which adds life and color to everything she does in any room that she's in." And once she began working, she worked with many different lawyers, one of whom was a criminal defense attorney, my good friend, Barry Wax. And he said that Judge Aponte was a tenacious, zealous advocate for her clients' rights. Always strive to get the best outcome possible. Those traits will serve her well as she ascends to the circuit court bench. And while she was practicing, she was very happy being a lawyer. And it was actually never in her mind to become a judge. She never thought about it. She never thought it was possible. A dream never thought possible. But one day, somebody lit that spark in her. And she thought, maybe I could do this. And like anything in her life, when she decided to do it, she went all the way. And that hard work again paid off because she ran for election, and it was not easy, and she did not win the first time, but she did not give up. She kept going until she did win that election. And, what's most impressive to me as a mother is she did it the last time while she was pregnant. And if any of you women out here have ever been pregnant in Miami, you know it doesn't matter what time of the year it is hot. And to have to go out and campaign on your feet like that for hours, she did it though, and she won. And she understood how important the job of the judge was, and she wanted to be somebody that when people heard she was the judge presiding on the case, that they would say, oh yeah, that judge, you know what, she is fair and she can follow the law. That's all she's ever wanted. And she's achieved what she set out to do. I spoke to her colleague and friend, Judge Denise Martinez Scanziani, who told me, Judge Aponte is a good and loyal friend. She is also a great mother and daughter with a heart of gold and a commitment to persevere. There is no obstacle put in her path that she will not strive with maximum effort to overcome. Judge Aponte, your passion, your perseverance, and your patience have all paid off. Today you are here, you are circuit court judge, and we celebrate you. And on behalf of the Miami-Dade Bar Association as president, I am honored to bestow this Bible to Judge Rosy Aponte.
And today, in addition to that Bible, Judge Aponte gets some more gifts. The long-awaited plaque for the desk plate. I know. I can't diminish the importance of this desk plate to all the judges. We go into judges' offices when we're lawyers, we see that thing, and then one day we get one of our own, and Judge Aponte had to wait a year for this, and now she's got it from the Conference of Circuit Court Judges. Also a gift here from the Gwen S. Cherry Black Women Lawyers Association. And now for personal remarks on behalf of the judge's family and friends, we have Barry Brown, a close friend of Judge Aponte.
Good afternoon, distinguished judges, guests. My name is Barry Brown Martinez, and I have the distinct pleasure of knowing Rosy Aponte for about 33 years. We met at Miami High, where we both attended school, and the minute we met, we hit it off immediately. She was kind and funny, a vivacious energy she had. She wasn't afraid to laugh out loud, and she had spunk. You see, I'm a Puerto Rican from the Bronx, and I could tell when I see the real deal, okay? So when we found out that we were both Puerto Ricans in Miami High, we became kindred spirits immediately. We were excited about Miami High and shared common involvement, drama, TV production, cheerleading. Our school had a strong drama department, and we were part of the drama club Thespians. Thespians were like family, and it was a great experience. Our involvement included performing in Christmas shows, homecoming parades, speaking on the school televised announcements in the morning, representing Miami High at district and state drama competitions, as well as the school annual Academy Award programs where we performed a rendition of Madonna's Vogue dance. And yes, Rosy is actually a pretty good dancer. We loved the drama class and we excelled in this area. As a matter of fact, Rosy on several occasions received superior ratings at the drama competitions. Specifically, I remember that she received high honors representing Miami High in a self-choreographed mime. Rosy also was part of the varsity cheerleading team, and this required tremendous commitment. It required great agility, strength. Practices were for hours throughout the week. She cheered at sports games and fundraising. She was extremely confident and a great cheerleader. I tell you a secret though. She's the only person that I know that to this very day could probably do a cheerleading hurdle jump. I share these things with you so that you can catch a glimpse of this incredible person that I met, who became my best friend. And allow me to tell you a little bit more. You see, Rosy had two very distinct qualities, tenacity and persistence. Whenever she set forth her mind on something, she didn't stop until she accomplished that which was in her mind to do. If people doubted her and did not believe in her, she turned that around and used it as motivation. This tenacious young lady was also a hard worker. She was not born of privilege. In fact, she lived in a single-parent home. Rosy had to work while attending school to help relieve some burden off of her mom. She worked at various jobs so that she could pay for her extracurricular activities. She managed getting good grades at school, work, drama, and cheerleading, and she was always responsible, of good character, reliable. She never allowed her situation to get the best of her. Rosy always displayed tenacity that would turn any problem into an opportunity, any hurdle into a challenge, any failure into a comeback, which is what would serve her well as she earned her seat on this bench. Because of her circumstances, Rosy always had to work hard for what she wanted. For some people, they knock once and the door's open. Rosy had to bang down some doors and overcome to achieve milestones that she reached. Author John Maxwell states so eloquently, tenacious people don't rely on luck, fate, or destiny for their success. And when conditions become difficult, they keep working. This is who Rosy is. Rosy has always been very compassionate, giving, and faithful person, the type of friend that stays by your side. She has a heart for helping and encouraging others to be the best they can be. After high school, we went our different ways. I went to college in Pennsylvania and she remained in Miami. But throughout our lifetime, we always searched for each other. In spite of time and distance throughout the different phases of our lives, we managed to stay in touch, picking up where we left off. She was always down to earth no matter what she was doing, always talking about her next dream. So it didn't surprise me at all to hear that she would become a teacher, that she would go to law school, and that she would earn her JD. I am extremely proud of Rosy Annette Aponte. I am honored to accompany her in this significant event. This day marks a momentous occasion because today she is not only realizing her dreams, but she's breaking ground. She's paving the way for Puerto Rican women. She's become the role model that she never had. Rosy, your accomplishment, your fight, your position at the bench is a testimony that with God, nothing is impossible. A testament that God is the one who calls and selects. He has predestined you for such a time as this. He has allowed everything in your life to occur in order to prepare you. God has blessed you with the gift of tenacity, persistence, compassion, faithfulness, creativity, strength to advocate, and a love for others, in which He has poured into your life from the beginning when He designed you for this particular moment. There are no coincidences with God. I believe that everyone who steps into your courtroom will be treated with respect, dignity, and fairness because you have walked in their shoes. I know that you will have the ability to see someone beyond their file, keeping an open mind while hearing arguments presented to you. I know that you will work hard to serve and uplift your community. My prayer for you, my dear friend, is that God would continue to endow you with wisdom, with discernment, courage, integrity, compassion, and judicial temperament. May God bless you now and always as He uses you as His instrument to show His love, grace, and mercy. Thank you.
And now for further remarks on behalf of the judge's family and friends, please welcome Robert Rodriguez, attorney and Judge Aponte's friend.
notice that the older I get, my glasses get smaller. See if we can read this here. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'll make it brief. Rosy's eventual and inevitable rise to the bench was no small feat for such a persistent, resilient, and dedicated soul. While gathering notes to speak today, I wasn't at all surprised to find out that Rosy was at first a kindergarten school teacher who taught during the day and put herself through law school at night. I first met Rosy at the office of my then partner, who took her in to show her the ropes of foreclosure defense during the Great Recession. It wasn't too long before Rosy was teaching all of us at the firm the quote-unquote ropes, so much so that she soon became the sole attorney in charge of the foreclosure defense department at the firm. Not only was she a leader in this department, but she was always being requested by clients to have her handle their cases. They didn't want any other lawyer. They wanted Rosy. Anyways, there were other lawyers at the firm that were intimidated by Rosy's resolve and approach to cases and her unique style of, shall I say, conversational candor with the court in a case. I would always hear about these exchanges with the judges and from other lawyers, but I never really got to see it firsthand until I did. And I remember, I was in court one day, awaiting my case to be called on the court's 5-minute motion calendar, which is not enough time to argue these motions. Rosy was in court that day, as well as on a motion to dismiss on her foreclosure case. The judge on this particular day simply wasn't having it with any of defense counsel's and was robustly disposing of all our motions on his calendar. Pretty much anything that we moved for, we were being denied. That is, until he called Rosy's case. Before the judge could even look up from the docket, Rosy pounced and told the judge very flatly, quote, and I remember this, "You will not be denying my motion until you've given me a chance to speak and talk to you like human beings are supposed to talk to each other," close quote. The judge looked up, smiled wryly at Rosy, and then leaned back in his chair and asked, "Miss Aponte, what can the court do for you today?" That's the way it is with Rosy. She always found a way to engage and have her matter heard with full attention from anyone she engaged. Whether it was in the courtroom or at the office, arguing why certain defenses that we were employing weren't gaining traction, and she was successfully engaging the court by tweaking something here or something there. Rosy is not afraid of challenges, so long as they are in the pursuit of what is just and fair. She will engage you to the moon and back and simply ask questions when she is not well versed on a subject. Her engagement with colleagues in the civil arena has always been fair and to the letter of the law. I have never seen her engage in gamesmanship when it came to the practice of law and civility amongst her colleagues. When she first told me that she would be running for judicial service, I knew without a doubt that she would make it onto the bench. That's just simply who she is. She is persistent and tireless, but she is also humble and kind. Rosy's facets from her life and her practice of law will be a boon to our community and to her fellow jurists as she engages in one of the highest callings of public service, and that is to sit in judgment of matters for her community. She will not let us down, and we will be all wiser as a result of her decision to take the bench. Please join me in recognition of Judge Rosy Aponte.
And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, the oath of office and robing. I'd like to ask our very own Circuit Court Judge and Chief Judge Emeritus, Bertila Soto, to join Judge Aponte and her family at the podium. Welcome Mother Rosalina Carballo and Stepdad Luis Marin.
Someone took the oath with their documents.
Here. Ever at the ready. Yeah.
Okay, so Chief Judge Safey, may I have a minute? I promise to be brief, because I remember what it was like when I was there. I want to thank Rosy. Look at your mom. She's so young. I want to thank Rosy for asking me to do this. Rosy is my mentor. I'm her mentor. She's my mentee. And we've really dealt with each other during COVID. but I did see her during the campaign, and I had met her before, and she is a kind soul. Most people, when they talk to me about me, they say I'm kind. So I'm glad that they put us together. This is the moment that we've all been waiting for, the oath, where the public, the citizens of Miami-Dade County elected you, and you are going to openly take your position as judge in front of them so they can finally watch you in person and over there in virtual land. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name,
Rosy Aponte,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
protect, and
protect,
defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and government
and government
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am qualified to hold office
that I am qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state of Florida,
under the Constitution of the state of Florida,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of judge
the duties of judge
of the circuit court
of the Circuit Court
of the 11th Judicial Circuit
of the 11th Judicial Circuit
of the state of Florida,
of the state of Florida,
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Felicidades.
Thank you.
Wait, the mom first. Felicidades.
Testing, testing. Okay. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to all the people that are here today. I know many people work and it's hard to come on during the middle of the day. We all have responsibilities, so it's not deciding how special it is for me that you guys are here. As I look around the room, I can see so much love in the room. I can see faces that are looking back at me, and I can feel the love in the room. I see the love in the room, and I'm so truly blessed. I'm truly blessed to have my girls from Miami High, my childhood friends, my family, my fellow colleagues. I learned about the love of God, and before I forget, I need to thank God first and foremost. I learned about the love of God and faith from my late maternal grandfather, who at a very early age instilled in me that if God is with you, then who can be against you? He also instilled in me a very hard work ethic that I also got from my mom, who got it from him. He also instilled in me how important it is to be kind and giving to people and to always open your door to anyone that may need you. As a former school teacher, I'm still a teacher at heart. And so I want to say to my students that may be watching or may be watching in the future, no matter what has happened to you in the past, or what is going to happen to you or is happening to you right now in your life, it has no power to keep you from your destiny and from the future that you dream of. I am testament to that today. I was raised by a single mother. We moved here from Puerto Rico when I was only 2 or 3 years old. I was a latchy kid, like Miss Martinez-Ganziani, which meant that I had to come home after school with my own key, heat up my own food sometimes because my mom was busy working and putting herself through Miami-Dade College so she can have a better future, so she can, help out with whatever we needed. So sometimes I would get home, and as a lot of you may recall, open up that can of Chef Boyardee, put it in, the pan, heat it up. And so I learned to be very independent at a very early age. I started working. After a while, I got tired of just coming home from school, doing my homework, and then watching black and white movies, watching all those reruns, like The Cosby Show and Good Times, So I decided I wanted to start working at age 13. I asked my mom. She wasn't too happy about it, but, it's hard to say no to me. So I started selling cookies all around Miami to businesses and homes. And before we knew it, my team had sold the most cookies in all of the United States. So we won a trip to New York to stay at the Central Plaza Hotel. And that's when my work ethic really began. That's when I really saw how working hard can get you places, you know? So I never stopped working after that. I worked in high school. While I was putting myself through high school, I was a cheerleader. I would, right after school, go to cheerleading practice, and then sometimes I would have to, before I got my car, catch a bus to Dayland Mall to go work at Tom McCann selling shoes. My schedule there was like 6:30 to 9:30. So by the time I would get home, I was, of course, beat to start all over again the next day. But, you know, I wish I still had that energy. I can't believe I had that energy. But, you know, that's where I learned my hard work, and I never stopped working. I worked through high school, I worked through college, and I even worked while I was putting myself through law school. So what I want to say to my students that are watching or are going to be watching, hard work is the only way that you can always guarantee that your dreams come true. You have to work hard. You know, like Barry said, some of us can knock on a door and it opens right quick, but that's not the reality. The reality is that sometimes you got to keep knocking until a door opens. Well, this was not my first calling, as you've been told. I didn't really dream of, I'm not one of those people that dreamt of being a judge since I was little, like some other people that have been up here. I wasn't thinking I wanted to be a judge since I was 9 or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I had to get out there and discover, I've always been an explorer. I had to get out there and really explore what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be. I mean, I've been a salesperson, a cashier at a bank, a receptionist, a secretary, an executive assistant, a flight attendant. I've been a real estate appraiser, okay? I worked at an answering service as an operator. I was even the Spice Girl, yes, Ginger Spice, a lip sync impersonator at parties, at private parties. When I was in law school, I made some money on the side doing Ginger Spice. I know I don't look like her, don't ask me why, but that was the only thing left open. So I did it. I dyed my hair red, and I did what I had to do. However, it didn't take me long to realize that I wanted to keep going, so I became a teacher. And while I was teaching, even though I love teaching, and it's a very, you know, special thing to do, and it's very important, after a while I got a little tired of teaching the A, B, B, ba, ba, you know. Teaching the alphabet it just got tiring. It wasn't for me. I had to keep going. And so I decided to go to law school. From 1 month to the other, I decided to start studying for the LSAT. Within a month, I took it, and I got a good enough score to get into one of the 3 law schools that I had applied to. So before I knew it, there I was on my journey in law school, trying to find my way again. While in my first year of law school, my passion for civil rights was awakened in my constitutional class. I remember being taken away by the 1964 landmark U.S. Supreme Court case, Katzbach versus McClung and the Heart of Atlanta Motel versus U.S. This is the case where the Supreme Court 9-0 held that the Commerce Clause gave the rights to Congress to pass the Civil Rights Act. And I remember thinking, wow, what does the Commerce Clause have anything to do with civil rights? But, you know, they found a way to do it, and that's where I realized how being creative, somebody thought of this, somebody was creative enough to come up with a way to surpass the fact that you're not supposed to tell states what to do with their businesses, but they came up with a way to stop the discrimination, and they came up by doing it through the Commerce Clause. And I remember thinking, wow, how creative. There's room to be creative in law, you know? And so that's when I started, once I graduated, I came back to Florida. I started taking the Florida bar. I was studying to take the Florida bar. And while I was looking for a law clerk job, I decided I wanted to work in civil rights cases. So I went to Martin Hubble and I looked up attorneys in Miami that do discrimination and employment work. And I faxed my resume to 65 offices in one day. By the end of that day, at 4 o'clock, I got a phone call from Mr. Charles Pappy. Mr. Charles Pappy had been an attorney for over 50 years, and he was known in the community as being a strong litigator. He litigated big cases like class actions against Ford Company and big companies. So he had made a name for himself. So he calls me on the phone, and I couldn't believe it. Somebody was already calling me back. I had just faxed these things a few hours ago. And we start talking, and as soon as I tell him that I'm a stingaree from Miami High, he's like, what? You're hired. He was from Miami High as well. He was one of the first people that graduated from Miami High to become an attorney, and he was very proud of being a stingaree. So the very next day, I already had a job, and I already had to go into work and meet the famous Mr. Charles Pappy. He became my mentor right away. I clerked with him until I passed the Florida bar. Once I passed the Florida bar, he hired me as an attorney, and we had already successfully been retained by about 5 or 6 different clients to represent them for retaliation or discrimination cases, when all of a sudden Mr. Pappy passed away. At that time, the firm decided they were going to dissolve, and so they told me, you can keep the cases, you can take them with you. But of course, at that point, I said, well, if I start applying for jobs, they're not going to want me to bring my civil rights cases on the side. Nobody was going to want that. So I said, you know what, I have no choice. I'm going to open my own law firm, which I had never thought of doing. But destiny led me to opening my own law firm in 2009, and I brought the cases with me. But of course, it didn't take long before I realized contingency cases like discrimination cases do not pay the bills, okay? These are cases that take years, and there's no money coming in. So I had to do something else, and that's when the foreclosure boom hit here in the United States and in South Florida. And so I started doing work with different firms that did foreclosure defense. I started with LA, with Robert, and I learned the ropes from him and from John. And that's when I started litigating. I was just thrown one day, oh, you've never been to court? It's okay, here's three files. And I just had to sink or swim, you know? So I came, and it was in this very courthouse that I started practicing in front of the judges. And it was so overwhelming. The judges were overwhelmed. There was so many there was piles, there was trucks pulling up to the courthouse, opening the back, and the piles of plaintiff petitions, of complaints, or the foreclosure complaints were just being taken in piles. And the judges were all overwhelmed, so they all ended up having to do a foreclosure calendar just for foreclosure. And so before I knew it, I was having sometimes 20 hearings a day here in this courthouse. But of course, I would have one judge on the 13th floor, I would have one on the 2nd floor, then I would have another on the 6th floor. And when I tell you that I worked out and got in shape, I'm not kidding. I mean, I would get to every hearing sweating, but you know, it was what it was. And so, but when I started, it didn't take me long to realize, wait a second, there's like a little plaintiff wolf pack here. In every hearing, every courtroom, there was plaintiff's attorneys that all covered for each other. And so if the judge would call you out and you weren't there, they would step up. They would say, oh, I'm here to to represent whoever. They had their little, organized wolf pack, like I call it. But I didn't have that, you know? So if the judge would call my name and I wasn't there, well, dismissed or whatever, and I would have to go back, file a motion to vacate. I'm sorry, I was in the other judges, you know? And so it didn't take me long to realize, I'm becoming part of this wolf pack, okay? So I started getting to know all the plaintiff's attorneys. This is how me and Elaine became really good friends. We used to go up against each other. And I had to get to know everybody, and before I knew it, I had the plaintiff's attorney, when I would be called and I wasn't there, texting me and saying, no, she's coming. And so I became part of the wolf pack because, you know, you got to sink or swim. And so I earned the respect of my colleagues and of so many attorneys working here for so many years, day and night. And then, of course, it didn't take me long to realize that I had to get to know each and every judge. Because for any of you who've done defense work, know that the first thing you do when a client comes in with a case is you say, let me look up who the judge is, you know. If you go into a law firm for a defense and the attorney doesn't look up first who the judge is, run, because they don't know what they're doing, okay? The reality is that, yes, the law is the law, and we all try to be in unison of how we rule, but there's a lot of discretion, and every judge is different, how they run their courtroom, how they run their procedures. And so if you really wanted to do a good job for your clients, you needed to know what judge was who and get to know that judge and their philosophy and how they ran their courtroom. So I worked very hard at doing that. I worked very hard at earning the respects of these judges because I knew that my credibility was very important. When the judge sees the same person over and over every day, you got to be credible. You can't you know, the judge will not forget if you lie or you do something that's not good. So you have to develop your credibility. And so I was fortunate enough, blessed enough that with that job of foreclosure, I was able to build my credibility in the community with the judges, with the attorneys. I made a lot of connections. Before I knew it, sometimes being too good at something is bad. They were sending me to Broward, they were sending me to Monroe County, they were sending me to West Palm Beach. I was like, oh no, but I did it. I kept working hard. I went and I got to know the system in Broward, got to know the judges in Broward, and I did that around South Florida, and it paid off. It definitely paid off. I think that it would be like trying to ignore the big fat elephant in the room if I didn't talk about what a trying campaign I had at the end. I was cyberbullied. I was bullied by so many people. It was what they call campaign smearing. And I'll never forget that when I first started running in this race, somebody called me and said, you know, I'm being told that if you don't get out of the race, they're gonna take your license away. And I'm like, what do you mean they're gonna take my license? You can't just take somebody's license away. I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. But yet I was thinking maybe I should get out. This is becoming a little too difficult. And I was actually contemplating getting out of the race. Until then I get another call, and they said, Rosy, they heard that you just had a baby recently, and they feel really bad. They don't want you to lose your license and not be able to provide for your child. And I said, excuse me, that was it for me. I said, oh, I'm not getting out of this race now. Because anybody who's a mom in this room knows you don't tell a mama cub that you're gonna take her cub's honey away, okay? So that was it for me. I knew God was with me. I said, God, by the way, my child is a miracle. I had him almost at 47. I had been told that I was never going to be able to be a mom. And naturally, God, of course, as he always comes through, gave me my baby. And I knew he was a miracle baby. So all I did was I put everything in God's hands, and I prayed. I said, you know, if anybody's not gonna take away the honey from my baby, not because I'm the child, because I'm a child of God, and God brought me this miracle, and nobody's gonna take it away. So, but that's where the hard work came in. What people failed to realize was that I didn't just come out of nowhere. I had worked hard in the community. I had built my name with judges. I had built my name with colleagues, and everybody came out in my defense. It was so beautiful to see so many people defending me, not taking that for an answer, correcting other people, saying none of this is true. And as you know, I won and I'm here, and so I made the right decision in staying. And even though it was a little bittersweet getting here, I got here. And I'm proud to be here, and I know that God has been with me every step of the way. So I just want to leave you guys with the fact that I promised to work hard. I didn't get here without working hard, and that's going to continue. I just want everybody to know that in my courtroom, there will be no discrimination, there will be no bullying. And, you know, when you come into a position as this, nobody comes in knowing everything. Every judge has a grading curve. We all come with certain experiences, and we all have to learn as we go. For example, I just got into the domestic violence division, which I'm very lucky to be being taught a lot by Judge Kelly, who, if you guys don't know, she's like the superstar of domestic violence judges, not only here, but in the United States. So she's my mentor. But for example, domestic violence, they don't teach you that in law school. You know, that's not something that you learn if you haven't done it before. So you have to learn as you go. It's a grading curve. And so I'm very proud and I'm very humbled that I was elected and that people put their faith in me. I promise to do the best that I can. And I gotta thank people that brought me here. I gotta thank my mom for always being there for me. She was mom and dad. She wore both hats. She's my best friend and always there for me. I gotta thank Louis, who during the campaigns was running after people. He would not let anybody leave unless they got my card. He worked so hard, and I'll never forget that. I gotta thank Stephanie Brownfield, who carried me along the way when everything seemed a little dark. She would always have the right words to encourage me and tell me that I can do it. She always had my back. Thank you, Stephanie. I love you. You're a friend forever, friend for life. I gotta thank Barry Wax, that of course was there with me too, because the cyberbullying, it wasn't just cyberbullying. They started filing, this was all over the news, so they started filing complaints left and right, so I had to hire Barry to help me, and of course, he made it all go away because he knew that it was all just bullying. And so I gotta thank you, because I know that because of you, I'm here. I will always be grateful to you. And then I gotta thank Jose Diaz. I don't think he was able to make it, but he also helped me greatly with my campaign. Matia Farias, okay, and all the countless other people that worked on my campaign that I see some of you here. I gotta thank the judges that have been there for me and been mentors. Judge Soto has been wonderful. Judge Prescott has helped me a lot. Judge Martinez-Canziani has been with me. We came up together, we won together, and she's just like a sister to me. Judge Bruzoni Lane, thank you. You know that I love you. You're another sister from another mother as well. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. God bless you, and thank you.
Welcome to the bench, Judge Aponte. And for those of you that would like to greet Judge Aponte and her family and congratulate her in person, please come forward. You're going to be exiting to the right, and you'll be able to see Judge Aponte and her family there. And on behalf of all the judges and staff of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida, thank you so much for joining us today, and court is now in recess.
Thank you.
We're going to get one quick picture.
Okay.
Oops. Ara's the boss here.
you.